Good morning, y'all. Happy Tuesday. Welcome to another What Else is Going On, aka We Go podcast episode. I'm your girl, your host, Taria. I'm late. Listen, y'all, I'm late. I'm giving y'all my recap for Beverly Hills for last week, and then we know the new episode comes on tonight. I'm gonna be on it. And I'm gonna give y'all Atlanta later on uh, today, but I wanted to get Beverly Hills out because I'm a little late, but we gonna roll with it, okay? So we start out with now. Remember the week before Sutton had the fashion show. Can I just say something? I don't think what Kathy Hilton did was cute, funny. Oh, Kathy's so quirky, just like the hunky dory. I don't buy none of it. I don't think none of it is cute. Her being on that runway, she knew what she was doing. A lot of things Kathy does speaks to entitlement. You know what I'm saying? They don't even look at it like, oh, I shouldn't be doing this. I didn't think none of it was cute. Moving on. We are at, y'all let me know what y'all think. Dorit and Bose visit Erica's house. Erica did a good job. I do love the house. I think it's really pretty. I love the designs that she picked. Bose, oh, and this is going to be a quick review because I just need to get caught up, right? Bose brings gift bags for St. Lucia. Really cute. Got bathing suits in them, all that stuff. They're going to have a good time. I thought the bags were really cute. I think they were Telfar bags, right? Really, really cute. Uh, Bose talks about how good they're going to look and it's going to be a real fashion show. And it was like, oh, didn't mean to say that because it was kind of shading Sutton's fashion show. So they all are really excited. They all sit down on Erica's couch. Dorit talks about her lunch with Garcelle and how she brought up Garcelle always defending Sutton. And she was telling them the story, and Erica steps in, like, now, wait a minute. Wait. I don't want to hear that Sutton feels bad because somebody brought up her drinking. Her and Garcelle wouldn't let me breathe for a year, brought up my pill popping, my alcohol, and of course they show flashbacks. She was like, and now she wants some sympathy. Who I'm gonna say this, that there's a part of me that gets what Erica's saying. Also, at the same time, you were on this show. Everything seemed honky dory with you and Tom and your life and your wealth and fabulousness. And then that was over. We hear about that. And then comes orphans and widows and money stolen and all of that, right? And something seemed to be out in the paper every other day. And the big question, this money he stole, did it get funneled to Erica? Was it put in her account? I get why they were asking questions. I do, right? It's what was really going on. I can see it from her side, like, oh my gosh, I can't, in a real situation, in a real legal situation, I can't say anything. I can't even show, I don't know how to walk that line of showing empathy. Let me put myself in that position. If I didn't do it and didn't know anything about him doing it, right? How do I walk this fine line of showing empathy and all of that without somehow possibly maybe implicating myself on something that I didn't do or people thinking that I did it, or even his case, because she didn't want to say that at first what he did either, right? So she's literally fighting for her life. She's losing job opportunities. She's all this because she's tied into it. Now, there are people, some people think she knew, some people don't think she knew. So it's a very precarious situation, right? I also understand again why Sutton and Erica were asking questions. Articles are coming out. We are talking about this. But I also get Erica felt like I get that Erica felt like she was literally fighting for her livelihood, right? So there's a lot to me. To me, it's not just so black and white when it comes to the Erica, Garcelle, Sutton, and the questioning of things. Garcelle and Sutton weren't the only one questioning. Kyle brought up some things, Dorit tried to bring up some things, but they kind of laid back and because they knew Sutton and Erica were going to do some questioning. Even Crystal um, had some questions, but the people knew that Sutton and Garcelle were going to really. get into it, right? So Erica ain't trying to hear that. She ain't feeling a little bit bad for Sutton. And hey, she can. She don't have to feel bad because of the joke that Dorit said about Sutton. We know it ain't coming from Erica, point blank. We know Erica's like, nope, you ain't getting nothing over here. Um, then we go over to oh Lord, Sutton's house. Garcelle's there, and Garcelle talks about her dinner with Dorit and how she brought up to Dorit, the joke was sensitive, to Sutton, all of that stuff. And basically Garcelle was defending Sutton again to Sutton in her dinner with Dorit. Not defending her going to dinner, but just like, hey, I was telling her this about you and this, but like in a good way. You know how like if you come back and tell you, like I'd have met with a person that my friend don't get along with, so I come back from the dinner with my friend like, yeah, and I even said this basically on your behalf. Not that you asked me to, but just what I said, so. Then they bring up the Mauricio pictures. Garcelle wants to talk about it because we know that's what Garcelle does. That's what we're supposed to do. Somebody's got to do it, right? So she brings up, listen, we can't talk about more. All of a sudden, we can't talk about Morgan and Kyle. Kyle was just at Morgan's concert this weekend. And so she wants to talk about these Mauricio pictures or whatever. I'm sorry, they can talk about the pictures, but they can't talk about Kyle and what's her name? Morgan. Sutton is very much like, I think we should respect her privacy. Now, it is an interesting thing. I know that Erica's was on a much different scale. It wasn't just about affairs or people kissing and things. It was money being stolen. But there was no respecting Erica's privacy or whatever. And again, I know it's a big difference, but I'm just saying. But now when it comes to Kyle, and this stuff is out there too, this is stuff that's all being talked about in the media. It's respect her privacy. Even Garcelle noticed and is like, because at the end of the episode, Garcelle talks about Sutton sticking up for Kyle. But anyway, so in her confessional, Garcelle said, Sutton is watching Kyle and Dorit basically rekindle their friendship, and that moves Dorit right on out the way. And that's exactly it. I believe that's why there's smoke like that for Dorit. Also, I don't care whether people like Dorit or not. I do feel like the ladies thought they were going to come in and Dorit really wasn't going to have no ally or anything. Erica is kind of like in the middle. Sutton would have been firmly team Kyle in their fallout. Garcelle would have then been on the side. Garcelle and Dorit have their own issues. So at that point, Dorit and her had not sat down, talked. Dorit had not apologized. So Dorit would not have had Garcelle. You know what I mean? Jennifer Tilly is Sutton's friend. So I do feel like they came in thinking, or Kyle, because she's admitted to icing people out when she's upset, right? And I think it was easier for Sutton to offer her support to Dorit about her kids and the divorce when Dorit and Kyle were not as close. Now they're back close in a spot that you want to be, Sutton, right? And Dorit was there first. She was friends with Kyle first. And I'm not saying that to say Dorit shouldn't want to be there, but in real life, Dorit and Kyle have a longer history. And sometimes when people have a longer history and a new friend comes in, if they make up with that person that they have a longer history with, there's a familiarity there, right? So, I won't get to the end of the episode yet, but like Garcelle said, Sutton is seeing Kyle and Dorit get closer. They were hugged up at the fashion show like they used to be. Sutton noticed that, right? So I feel like Garcelle called it right out. Now I wonder if she says things to Sutton or does she just say them off the show? Because we don't see it a lot on the show. Like when Dorit and Garcelle sat down, Garcelle agreed that she felt like Sutton kind of went a little bit too far, but she never said it to Sutton, like in the moment. Like, all right, Sutton, hey. She'll just be like, oh, wow, okay. So maybe they have an agreement not to call each other out. But anyway, we're back with Erica, Dorit, and Bose. And they're talking about that Garcelle is being hypocritical because she defends Sutton And Erica said for years and years and years, Bose is like, she calls me Dorit's mouthpiece, but she's over there being her homegirl's mouthpiece. And then that's when Erica says for years and years and years and years. They can play and play sisterhood all they want, but Erica and Sutton will never be, because they had bonded over being Southern girls in the beginning. And then once the divorce and stuff came out and Sutton was questioning, I feel like in Erica's mind, Erica knows how to be cordial and get along in the group and have a joke, but I'm never really going to see it for you. I truly feel like that's how Erica feels. Y'all let me know what y'all think. And Bo said she was working on their villas, and all three of them are in a villa together, and they're all excited. Next up, we're at Kyle's house. Bose comes over with her St. Lucia bag for Kyle. Bose says in her confessional that Kyle had a point at Dorit's house, and that because Kyle had said, I feel like you didn't take the time to get to know me. So Bose was like, basically, I don't want her thinking that. I do want to try to get to know her on a deeper level. And so I'm going to go see her. It's so interesting in these housewife shows when you have women that have been filming for max, let's just say like a month, right? And they're like, I want to get to know you on a deeper level. In real life, sometimes there's the rare times when it could kaboom work like that, right? But in real life, who's getting like, I want to get to know you on a deeper level after just a few weeks, right? You might would look at that person like, if it's not a natural thing, because again, there is sometimes a naturalness to it. And you're like, oh my God, like, and it's just naturally, you get close really quick or go deep really quick. But just to be walking around after a couple of weeks, like, I want to get to know you on a deeper level, you would be like, girl, why are you trying to get in my business to go tell people? Like, that would be that. But in their world, in their condensed world and how fast it moves forward, that's a normal thing, right? So anyway, Bose goes over there. I have to be honest, I liked the scene. I thought the scene was cute and it felt authentic. It really did. So Kyle explains that, hey, like when I first met you, I had just separated with Mauricio. I didn't know what I wanted, didn't know how things were going to go. So you were meeting me in that state. Bo shares her story about how, her and her husband were separated. And she went over there to pick up her daughter, Lael, and there was a woman there. And she was like, oh, wow. And then they found out he was terminal. And I remember, and towards the beginning of the season, she talked about they were separated. He was terminal. They got back together. She was with him when he passed. Well, she was telling Kyle, they got separated. She went over there to pick up Lael. A woman was there. They find out he's terminal. She goes to the hospital and that woman was there giving him head rubs and tender kisses. And she was like, get that bee out of here. She says in her confessional, it's unfathomable the feeling you get watching someone that you build a life with move forward with someone else. And I can imagine, even if y'all both know it's the best thing for y'all to do because it's not going to work, seeing somebody that you've been with for years, that you've built something with, you know each other in and out. So you think, no, intimately, non-intimately, like all of these things. And then they, like, not even to be graphic, but like, how passionate they are, right? Whether it be sexual or otherwise, or they're passionate about this, passionate about life. And then you see them with someone else and they're giving all of that to that person. So I could see what Bose was saying, like, wow. And so for her to walk in on that moment. Now, I do wonder, in that moment, because they had separated, was she still in love with him and it did it? Or was it just a shock of seeing someone else being that affectionate, being that intimate with him? Because intimacy, we know, isn't just sex, right? So I wonder. But Kyle tells Bose that she's meeting up with, oh, no, I'm sorry. She asked Kyle, like, Kyle is now feeling differently about things. And she's like, what changed that for you? And she was like, the picture. And Bose was like, the picture. And then Kyle tells Bose that she is meeting up with Mauricio. And Bose says, And I thought it was so cute. Kyle started laughing and points and goes, you would like to be there, wouldn't you? And Bose was like, I thought that was really like a cute little almost girlfriend moment. Like, girl, when he coming? You want me to be over here just in case? So I just thought that was really cute. Dorit and PK meet up. Do these two like each other? Listen, I know people say the divorce is for the show. I feel like two things can be true. They could really have been going through it. And instead of trying to pretend like life is 100, they're like, oh, Dorit, you need this check. So we're going to go through our real life. We're actually going to show it versus hiding it. Again, I think they both could be true. They was really going through it. And normally they would pretend that they were the perfect family. But because she knows she had to bring something, we just going to bring my actual real life to the camera. They go back and forth. One thing I will say about this whole apartment situation, Dorit, which I could see what they both were saying. Dorit was saying, we agreed to separate, take time apart. You go and get an apartment without even talking to me about it. And I think in her mind, because it was like that makes it serious, right? In his mind, I'm a grown man and I already feel like you try to control me. So here's just another thing that you were trying to control me getting an apartment. And I felt like I could see both sides. But if you're just talking about separating, I do believe that there needs to be, okay, now you're getting an apartment. Because I do wonder what was the original agreement, what that he was just staying in a hotel. Because if you got an apartment, we maybe need to tell our kids, so I deserve to have a break too. And you take these kids. I got to worry about where they're going to stay, where they're going to go. Now her parents were there. And maybe well, she did. She wanted to keep her kids as away from this drama as much as possible and create a stable environment. So they were comfortable at her house with her mom and dad being there. So Dorit's parents look young, especially her mom. But anyway, I said, are they getting divorced, y'all? Do they like each other? PK seemed like he just want to be done. I just want to be, he just wants to be Dorit's mate. Nothing more, nothing less. You know, the rumors are that PK was out with somebody recently, child. Anyway, they go round and round in circles, just like Dorit's conversation sometimes. Next up, we're at Bose's house. Lael and Keely have dinner together. Bose wants Lael to get to know him. First time she met him was when he flew out to Ghana. And Keely asked her about that, like, what did you think about that? Blah, blah, blah. Lael gets to ask him questions like, hey, if y'all get together, are you moving here? You expect her to move? I don't want to move. I'm in high school. It was a really cute scene and it seemed really authentic. Lael is such a pretty young lady. Her smile, everything. There's just like a light about her. Her and Bose seem from what we see, because we don't know, seem to have a really open relationship with communication and all of that. So from the outside looking in, the dinner went good. I know we all have our questions about Keely, right? Do y'all think it's a red flag that he's his age and never was married or had kids? Because there is a part of me that's like, well, he wasn't out here creating broken homes, you know, him living one way or his child living somewhere else, making somebody a single mom. So isn't that the responsible thing to do? I will say this, if a woman was Keely's age and had not been married or had kids, would we look at it the same way? Would we look at it as a red flag? Or would we be like, good for her, she chose to pursue her career or live her life on her terms? Versus looking at Keely like, outside of everything else, just this thing, he's this age and not married and hasn't had kids. And people feel like that's a red flag. Would we look at a woman the same way? Again, outside of the whole haven't told each other I love you thing, RHOBH in his bio, the people say he got in his bio RHOBH. Outside of all that, just people found out he's this age, was not married, didn't have kids. People thought that was a red flag. Would you look at a woman like that? I'm interested to know. Anyway, the dinner was cute. Child, and we get to Mauricio and Kyle. This scene, it was like I could feel Kyle's hurt. Like Bo said, you build a life with this person. Now, you know, the street's been talking for years. I've said it before. There used to be a podcaster out there that was married to someone very, very wealthy. And she was in the circles. And allegedly, she knew some of the people that Mauricio dibbled and dabbled with. She said that Mauricio would buy the girls Chanel bags. Anyway, that's allegedly. So the rumors have been out there for years, right? But we don't know if they're true. People, People could be just saying that, right? We don't know. I wanted to snatch Mauricio though, because there is a part of me that he may not even be doing it on purpose, but when he would get that little laugh, like he's at the house and he's in all the drawers, like, oh, what am I doing? And I don't know if he was making tea or coffee. And Kyle was like, I feel like he's distracting himself from the big elephant in the room, like the picture of him kissing somebody. And then he gets in her face and he's like mixing up his drink or whatever. And he's just kind of like, like, get out of my face with all that smiling and giggling and sniggling and stuff. Sir, you know what I want to talk about. Side note, Mauricio does look very good. Mauricio, you could tell he's been working out and taking care of himself. But still, get out of my face with that. Like, he just staring it, just looking at her, giggling and sniggling. That pissed me off for something. What you smiling about? Showing all your teeth. Well, he actually he showed teeth and then he didn't show teeth. I don't know why, y'all. That just irritated me. But so the picture comes up. He didn't do it on purpose. He says, "I obviously don't want to hurt you," and it gets to her. She cries. He gives her a hug. It was really a painful scene to watch. There is a part of me again that wonders if Kyle really does have feelings for Morgan or somebody else that she's confused about. But deep down, she kind of wants the freedom to be able to explore that, which means her separating or breaking up with Mauricio. But because they've been together so long, 30 something years, that's half her life, she's afraid to completely let go of that. Right. But I wonder if there is a part of her that does want to experience. Because remember when her and Dorit, when they have finally made up and went upstairs to Dorit's house and sat on the couch and they were talking. And Dorit was saying they're outliving their lives, PK and Mo. Like we should be doing the same thing and not just sitting here like, So I do wonder if there's a part of Kyle that wants that freedom, but that really wants to be done. But at the same time, it's fear holding her back because she's not just thinking about herself. She's thinking about her daughters, even though her daughters are pretty much grown and how they're going to feel with them not being together, their families. She might even be thinking about the people that look up to their marriage on this show, So I don't know. That feeling was a lot. So they show all the ladies picking out their outfits for St. Lucia. Then they arrive at the airport. Dorit, Bose, and Kathy are flying together from LA to Miami. The other ladies are flying to Miami. Then they'll all leave Miami and fly out to St. Lucia together. Kyle mentions Jennifer's luggage, and she brings out this vintage crocodile jewelry boxes, and of course, Erica stroking them, and saying how beautiful they are, and she needs them in her life. So they're walking to the plane. Erica says to Kyle, "You too rich to carry that ugly luggage." Kyle said it's sensible. I thought it was nice and matchy. I thought it was cute. I need matching luggage. Me and Corey, I want some cute but sensible luggage in like a cream or whatever. Anyway, so I thought it was funny, and I wondered, did y'all catch this? If it was a little bit of shade, they all meet up, and then they're walking through the tunnel to get from Miami to St. Lucia. And Garcelle goes, "Hi, Kathy. Good to see you. We missed you on our flight that did not recline." And Kathy says, "Oh, you flew all the way from LAX like that?" And Garcelle's like, "Yeah." And I was like, was that like a shot at Bose for the accommodations and seats that didn't recline? Or was that just like Chatham seats did not recline? Like had nothing to do with Bose, I was just wondering. Anyway, they arrive in St. Lucia's, get to their villas. They're gorgeous. We already know that Bose, Erica, and Dorit are in one. Then Kyle and Kathy are in one. Sutton, Jennifer, and Garcelle are in another. Erica says Bose may be giving Kathy Hilton a run for her money with these trips, girl, because it was absolutely gorgeous. So Garcelle, Jennifer, and Sutton all sit down in their villa. And Sutton says, have I said hello to Dorit? She just wants to bring up the conversation. Have I said hello to Dorit? Garcelle was like, I was going to ask you because I haven't seen you say anything to her. Sutton says she gets weird vibes from her. So Jennifer says, well, you're probably getting them because maybe she feels a certain way because the last time you guys were together, you were at each other's throats. So maybe Dorit is feeling some type of way too, right? So Sutton says, well, she digs at me pretty hard. And Garcelle says, okay, we're back. And so I wonder if Garcelle wants to be like, girl, enough. You are not always the victim. She's not always wrong. I mean, she's not always right, but she's not always wrong, but she's not always right. Right. Anyway, so in her confessional, Garcelle calls out Sutton's eyes. She says, Sutton has the eyes. Hyper fixated. She said, and we know what that means. Sure do, but I'm going to move along because the people know I don't care for Sutton. And they'll be like, oh, Taria, you just so I'm gonna move along, but even her friend is calling it out. Okay, so anyway, back in the other villa, Dorit says, I want to enjoy the trip, you guys. So Bose and Eric are basically like, so how are you feeling? Are you good? Whatever. And so Dorit says she feels like Sutton is coming in on the energy like, oh, I know I was bad and did something wrong. I don't know that Sutton is necessarily coming in on that energy. I think she's kind of skittish a little bit because of how their relationship has been, right? How there has been a back and forth. I mean, it's interesting how we went from her on a boat with Dorit saying, if you want me to sit there, with you, your kids, I'll support you. And when Dorit brings that up to her in the midst of their argument, she basically was like, no, I don't like you, but I will support you. I do think that's kind of like, if we ain't like that, I'd rather you not offer me. You ain't got to offer me anything, right? But anyway, so I can see Sutton is feeling awkward because of how they left off. And now I do get that. You're going on this trip. There is tension between you and another person, and not just a little tension. Like y'all have had blowouts the last couple times y'all have been together. So I do get where the awkwardness, could feel like on both sides or whatever. So we're back with Garcelle, Sutton, and Jennifer. And Sutton says, I'm sitting here watching Kyle and Dorit, and they're acting like best friends again. And the forgiveness factor is easy with them. See? I do think Sutton is a little bit, I don't even want to use the word jealous, but I don't know if there is another word. Is there another word to use other than jealousy? Sutton wants to be, even though she says she's not going to bow at the altar of Kyle Richards and says all these things, she wants to be close to Kyle. Now, is it that she wants to be close to Kyle because they say that this is Kyle's show? And Crystal has said that the ladies are pretty much told this is Kyle's show and Kyle runs the things. Is that why? Or just Sutton were they genuinely close? So anyway, Sutton is like the forgiveness between them is so easy. And I guess she's talking about, but with her and Dorit, it's not. Now I will say Kyle and Dorit have a history. They were friends for a long time. So that might be why it's a little easier with them. Sometimes when you've been friends with somebody for a long time, their quirkiness, the things that irk you about them that get on your nerves, but you still love them. And it's easier to look past than a newer friend, maybe, who really can get on your nerves at times. And who can be up and down, because Sutton can definitely be up and down. We have seen that through the years. Let's not deny that. The Magic Mike show, she was so excited. Then when they didn't pick her, all of a sudden it was about something different. You know what I'm saying? Like with the Crystal of it all, call it what it is. Just with different things, we have seen Sutton be up and down. And I don't think it's always because someone's poking at her. So it may be easier with Kyle and Dorit because of their history. But at the same time, Kyle and Sutton did seem like they were developing a friendship. I mean, remember when Sutton said, you've already lost one sister, you don't want to lose another? Now that was a lot. But when she said that to me, I was like, oh, they must have gotten really close, for her to consider herself one of Kyle's sisters. Then again, was that just Sutton considering herself a sister? Because I don't think Sutton has sisters, right? She has a brother. But Sutton is saying how Dorit and Kyle are kind of just like falling back into their friendship versus maybe her and Dorit are having a hard time. And Dorit and Sutton, I don't think ever really had a friendship to begin with, right? Like a closeness. They were all in this group and maybe formed something because Dorit is close to Kyle. Kyle started getting close to Sutton. So we all know how that goes, right? But what I love is how Garcelle says, but they've always had that. And I'm sure people can say that we have that. And Sutton didn't say anything in that moment. There are people that sometimes always look at it from what they're not getting versus how people could be looking at it like, well, you have that with somebody else. So here you're talking about Kyle and Dorit and their friendship, and basically you feel left out. And their forgiveness is so easy. And Garcelle brings up the point where people can say that about us. Yeah. So I did think that was a good point that Garcelle made. Jennifer talks about how it is very cliquish, how she thought she had this idea in her head they were all going to be friends and have good times and sleepovers, and it was not easy to crack. And even though she's good friends with Sutton, she's friends with Sutton, but it's just not easy to crack. And she talks about how she always wanted to be one of the popular girls growing up. She was beautiful. She's beautiful now, and she was beautiful, like those pictures of her when she was younger. And she said she was always the weird, girl. So it's not easy to crack. And I will say this. I've heard people say Garcelle and Sutton aren't real friends. It's just convenience. It's allyship. I know Teddy had said that before. But people do need to. The Fox Force 5 had pretty much locked. Anybody that wasn't a part of that was on the outs. And they treated them as such. From Crystal to Sutton to Garcelle. Which is why I didn't quite understand. I wish that Garcelle Sutton, and if the Fox Force 5 would have remained, I was looking forward to a Garcelle Crystal Sutton link up, right? But even if Garcelle and Sutton did start out as allies, because y'all wouldn't allow them to infiltrate the Fox Force 5 and block them out, what they have now, I do believe, is a real friendship. They love each other and they're really friends. So they broke up the Fox Force 5. Love it. But I see what Jennifer is saying. I was shocked by that because Jennifer has, the money, the wealth, the fame, the this, and she's outside of that, because other housewives have come on that have had money and this, and it didn't matter. But Jennifer had that tie-in with Sutton. So I just would think she would immediately bond with Garcelle and then but that's not always how it works. Everybody is not open like that. There are people that are like, you have to get to know them. I know someone who says when she meets people, she starts them at the bottom and they have to prove to her or like earn her friendship. Where versus me, like my friend will start at 0 and they'll have to work their way to 100. With me, people start on 100. And I think people may look at that as being naive. No, I don't know you. So I don't know what you're capable of. I'm not saying I fully put my trust in them and give them secrets and things of that, but I'm not looking for them to mess up. Or in my mind, I'm not keeping a score sheet. They did that wrong. They did. I'm just letting it naturally come. I'm not putting up a barrier to be like, you ain't there yet. You ain't there yet. Whatever happens naturally happens naturally. And some people are like that. So I think Jennifer is seeing that just because you are Sutton's friend and the people are like, oh, it's Jennifer Tilly. The fascination could easily wear off like it did with Denise Richards. They were like, oh my God, Denise Richards. And then it was like different. So I think Jennifer is seeing that. But I have to admit, I was a little bit shocked that she felt so strong, like that she felt it, right? And remember the story. There was a story that came out a couple of weeks ago. I didn't talk about it, but it was on Reality Blurb. Shout out to them, that the ladies weren't feeling Jennifer Tilly. And then she talks about how hard it was to get into this group. So I thought that was interesting. Uh, so, you know, Garcelle talks about in her confessional how she doesn't understand how Sutton continuously wants to support Kyle when Kyle does not support. She wants to stand up for Kyle when Kyle does not stand up for her. And I was like, so Garcelle sees it. Child, then the episode goes off. As it's going off, it shows 24 hours later. Child, they're going to get to arguing on the boat, hollering, screaming, all that. Now, remember in Bose's confessional when she was like, basically, she gonna plan the perfect trip. She gotta know how to. You gotta know how to plan the trip. Ain't nothing gonna happen on her trip. Wrong. It's gonna go down. So, looking forward to seeing what goes down tonight. We know it's definitely going to involve Dorit. I'm just still not looking forward to the reunion, y'all, because I said it when I was with live with Alexandria Rogers. Just because Garcelle and Bose are black, I don't expect they have to get along. All white women don't get along. All Latin women don't get along. All Asian women don't get along with each other. That's a unreasonable thing. However, when Garcelle did her post, all skin folk ain't kinfolk, and at first we thought she was talking about A. Marie, then sources have come out that her and Bose get into it. And I guess some behind the scenes stuff. If a black person says about another black person, all skin folk ain't kinfolk, what they're trying to say is you ain't really for us. And that's what I don't want between them two. So not looking forward to the reunion, but I hope that they do manage to have fun on this girls trip. But it looks like it gets explosive tonight. So we'll see. What did y'all think of last week's episode? I promise you I'm gonna be back on track this week, but I did want to give y'all my thoughts on Beverly Hills. Somebody said online, and I thought this was so true. Like, this is my feelings. It was like, I'm enjoying Beverly Hills, but not a lot is happening. So ain't nothing really happening, but I'm still enjoying watching it, if that makes sense. And that's how I feel. Like, it's not must see TV. Y'all, I know people have their ways about Atlanta, but I will say I was looking forward to seeing it this Sunday that just passed, and I watched it live. Normally, I wait and watch it the next day, all the shows. I sat down and me and the hubby watched it live. So, and then I watched it again to take my notes. But with Beverly Hills, I'm enjoying it. It's not necessarily appointment TV. Like, I got to watch it the day it drops, but I might watch it tonight because I want to see what goes down on the boat. So, y'all, but anyway, y'all let me know what y'all think about the dynamic. Do y'all agree with Garcelle that Sutton sees how Kyle and Dorit are just falling back in with their friendship and she wants that and wants to be close? And do you agree when Garcelle is basically like, here Kyle is protecting Sutton? Like, we can talk about Mauricio, we can talk about the picture, but we can't talk about Kyle and Morgan. Oh, because remember in that scene, they bring up her being at the concert and Garcelle was like wanting to bring it up. And Sutton was like, well, maybe you bring up, like Garcelle was like, maybe I'll bring up, oh, how was the concert? And Sutton is like, oh no, maybe like, oh, I see you had an eventful weekend. Like, what did you do? Like, letting Kyle lead the conversation instead of Garcelle leading the conversation, which is not what which is not what Sutton or Garcelle do with the other ladies. But Sutton is being very protective of Kyle. So y'all let me know what y'all think about that. Do y'all think that she's jealous that Dorit and Kyle seem to be back close again? What did y'all think about what Jennifer Tilly had to say? And I will talk to y'all later. I'm doing Atlanta later on today. Love y'all. See ya. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share the video. I always forget to say that. Share the video. And also, please subscribe to the audio version of the podcast. What else is going on wherever it is you find or listen to your podcast? Come follow me over on Instagram, y'all. I have a good time at We Go Podcast. Follow me over there on Threads. We have a good time over there. I said I was going to start posting more, but y'all know I'll be out in them streets making the money. Make the money. Make the money. Anyway, I love y'all so much, and I will talk to y'all later about Atlanta. See ya.